This week, we are going to learn how to balance a checkbook. Once again, brought to us by he who did not want to be named. Most banks do this automatically for you online, but before the age of technology, you had to manually add and subtract your money to know how much you had in the bank before your monthly bank statement arrived in the snail mail. For some of you, your parents or grandparents may still balance a physical checkbook. I know my grandma still does. And even if they don't, knowing how is still a valuable skill to have. I myself was treasurer of my teachers' union and had to have a manual record of deposits and withdrawals entered the checkbook. In today's world, the main benefit of using a checkbook is to keep track of uncashed checks and identify fraudulent activity. Uncashed checks do not appear on your online banking statement, so it's possible to spend more than what you have and the checks could bounce. For example, let's say you have $200 in your account and you write a check to the electric company for $100. You then go to the grocery store where you spend $150. By the time the electric company cashes your check, it will bounce because you only have $50 in your account. To avoid this, there are a few simple steps to balancing a checkbook that every person should know. Step 1. Record your transactions. As each transaction occurs, write it down. This includes each check you write, any ATM withdrawals, deposits, debit card purchases, and bank fees. Step 2. Review your monthly bank statement. When your monthly statement arrives, start at the top and work your way down, reviewing every transaction. A helpful tip is to place a check mark next to the transaction as you see it in your statement, and next to the same transaction in your checkbook. Once you reach the bottom, you'll be able to spot any missed transactions in your checkbook or the statement. For example, if you withdrew $20 at an ATM and forgot to write it down, you can add it into your checkbook. Another example is if you wrote a check and your bank statement doesn't have it recorded as cashed yet, you know how much money still needs to be in your account in order for the check to clear. Step 3. Check that your balances match. Your bank statement balance and your checkbook balance may not match if you had any deposits or withdrawals not recorded on the bank statement. To check if balances match, start with the ending balance on your bank statement, add any deposits that have been made, and subtract any balances from uncashed checks and other withdrawals. The totals should equal after doing this process. If you didn't want to do this by hand, there are online checkbook balancing calculators you could use. Step 4. Address any errors or fraudulent activity. If the balances don't match, go back and check your arithmetic. Sometimes rushing through the calculation process leads to mathematical errors. If you still can't find the error, you should talk with a bank representative and see if there are any transactions you didn't make and notify your bank of any fraudulent activity. Notifying the bank of fraudulent activity is especially important with debit card purchases because due to the Electronic Fund Transfer Act, or EFTA, you are responsible for $50 if reporting happens within 2 business days and $500 if the reporting occurs between 2 and 60 calendar days. If you wait longer than 60 days, you are liable for all the money stolen from your account as well as any fees that occurred because of the fraudulent activity. Step 5. Draw a line in your checkbook. Once you have finished balancing your checkbook, draw a line under the last transaction so you know where to start with your next bank statement. You can add the date next to the line as well. Step 6. File your bank statement. The last step is to file your bank statement in a safe place. The IRS recommends keeping records up to 7 years since the bank is only required to keep records up to 5 years after you close it per federal regulation. Relying on electronic records may not be the best thing to do. In the event that manually balancing a checkbook isn't for you, there are budgeting apps that can be used to help keep track of your balance. Some budgeting apps sync to your current accounts, and others have you manually enter your information. Either way, here's a list of free budgeting apps you could use to help keep track of your money. If you've never balanced a checkbook, start practicing now. It's super simple, but it can kind of seem intimidating at first because it's new. I know for me, even though it was a basic adding, subtracting, I watched my mom do it to write checks at the grocery store. Still, when it came time for me to do mine, it was like, I don't know what to do. So just make sure, start practicing. Some of these skills are worth keeping alive, and definitely balancing a checkbook is one of them. So give me some more ideas on what kind of topics for videos that you guys want me to do, just go ahead and fill out that Google form. If you need me to send it again, just send me an email and I will send it to you. But otherwise, I will see you guys next week.